Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today's topic is a good extension of what we discussed in yesterday's video. For a lot of you guys, especially if you live in certain parts of the world, things might be feeling extra dystopian lately. There's been a lot of changes with censorship and new bills being passed that require age verification and government IDs in order to access certain websites and services. And unfortunately, it looks like YouTube is trying to get ahead of this, and they have introduced their own AI-powered system that is going to determine in the United States whether or not you are an adult user or not. And whether or not you pass that, it'll determine if you have to give over your credit card or your government ID to access certain privileges on the website. This is a pretty concerning thing, and YouTube's been passing a lot of pretty radical policies recently, some good, some bad. In fact, yesterday they had a good one where they introduced a new change to a long-standing policy where they used to automatically demonetize you if you cursed in the first 7 seconds of a video. That's just the way it was. Automatic demonetization. They got rid of that. Now, for the YouTubers watching this, I want you to take a second and carefully read this section. This does not mean you can endlessly curse throughout the video. It just means you won't be automatically demonetized if you curse in the first 7 seconds. If you curse in the first 7 seconds or throughout the video, you still might get demonetized. So it's not like you have carte blanche to say whatever you want. But at least they got rid of the automatic demonetization. Now, there's another change that's pretty radical in my eyes that I've talked about in previous videos. I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to talk about in the future because it's pretty impactful. They have changed how views are counted on the system. So you have to be what's called an engaged viewer, someone who likes, subscribes, or comments on a video. That's what makes you an engaged viewer, and it makes your view actually count. If you're someone who just watches even the entirety of the video without doing those things, your view might not count. And becoming an engaged viewer helps increase how this video in particular is treated in the algorithm. And I recommend you doing this for my videos and also all the other content creators you enjoy, because I can speak from my own experience. This sort of thing does help the video in the algorithm. It does make a difference, and that's just the reality of the system we are in right now. But here is the major change we're talking about in today's video. So as you can see, YouTube is rolling out AI in the United States to detect if users are actually under 18. It ignores the stated age and applies restrictions to users they suspect are not 18. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, an AI-powered system that's going to determine whether or not you're going to be punished on this platform, even as a casual viewer. That is going to be a gigantic mess. And I think it's very clear this is trying to get ahead of what's going on in the world, especially in the United Kingdom. Given their online safety bill that is now in effect, this is essentially an age verification system that is causing a lot of issues because the scope of what it was introduced as has gone way beyond what was initially presented, and it's starting to affect pretty much every platform and service out there. But we'll talk about this in depth a little more in just a second. But this is the sort of rundown of how this new system on YouTube is going to work. They're saying we will use AI to interpret a variety of signals that help us determine whether a user is over or under 18. These signals include the types of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos that they have watched, or the longevity of the account. Notice there's an or, so it could be any of those three things that could be used by the AI to determine whether or not you're an adult user or not. And as you can see, if you are determined as someone who's underage, not 18, they will disable certain things on your account, including disabling personalized advertising, turning off digital well-being tools, or turning on digital well-being tools, adding safeguards for recommendations, including limiting repetitive views of some kinds of content. If the system incorrectly estimates a user to be under 18, they will have the option to verify that they are over 18 with a credit card or a government ID. This is exactly what's going on in the UK. If this AI determines through these three very vague requirements that you are not an 18 plus user, you're going to have to hand over your credit card or government ID. Doesn't that feel a bit invasive? This is very open-ended, and again, it's powered by AI. I don't trust this whatsoever. I don't think anyone trusts this whatsoever. This could so easily be abused to require people to send over their credit card or government ID. And I'm not even getting into like content creators and how if you're a content creator and somehow your account gets flagged, what does that mean for you? Like, are you able to collect revenue? How is that going to work? It's a giant mess waiting to happen, but they are gung-ho on this. And of course, like I said earlier, this is clearly trying to get ahead of a global trend right now. The UK is kind of the epicenter of all this with their new online safety bill and the age verification process. This is a disaster. Again, another example of a Trojan horse, where you have bills like this that present themselves as an attempt to protect children. But in practice and throughout the bill, it goes way beyond that scope. And it starts surveilling adults. It starts censoring what adults can view and say on the internet. And as we'll see, this has already trickled down in just a few days to services like Spotify. Spotify now will require you potentially as a UK user to give over your government ID. That's how ridiculous this is already getting. Now, like I said, this is a Trojan horse that says this is all about protecting kids. And every single person, every sane human being out there agrees that children should not have access to 18+ adult websites, obviously. But a lot of people believe this is more of a parenting issue. They should use parental controls and monitor what their kids are doing online, and that should be the main focus. It shouldn't require all these extra steps that extends the scope of bills like this to the point where now adults are being required to send in their government IDs to pretty much every website and service they visit. That goes way beyond adult websites and to just mundane, everyday services, as we will see. And unfortunately, there's also a big security risk. Imagine having to send over your government ID or your biometrics to pretty much every website you're going to. Look at some of the recent data breaches, like with the T app. This was an app that was a women-only app where basically it was very mean-spirited, right? They would have to give their government ID to prove they're a woman, and the main focus of the site was to show dating profiles of men and basically determine, like, is this person a red flag or not? Are they a good choice? Obviously really mean-spirited and invasive as well. And because the website did not have proper security, it was hacked by 4chan, and millions of IDs and personal information of users were leaked to the public. It is an absolute mess. And there are many websites and apps that function just like this, and it'll be just that easy to take people's information and make it available on the internet. And also there's going to be a lot of malicious users setting up fake websites or dupes of popular websites and services to try to get people's information. This is going to be something that's going to skyrocket in the UK. Now, of course, people are aware of this and they signed a petition. This is available through the UK government. It's not like this is a change.org petition. You can see over 400,000 signatures in only a few days. And they say, well, Parliament considers all petitions that get more than 100,000 signatures for a debate. But here was their response once it got over 100,000. The government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act. What's the point? Literally, what's the point? And of course, a lot of people are not happy about this entire system in the UK, so they're using VPNs because, well, you're not going to enforce this stuff on me if my VPN says I actually live in the United States, for example. Well, they're cracking down on VPNs already, just in a few days. The amount of people using VPNs skyrocketed in the UK, and now they're already trying to ban VPNs in the UK. This is a gigantic mess right now. And you can see some of the people of Parliament, like Peter Kyle here, trying to do a very desperate and shameless appeal to emotion, where they're still trying to say that if you want to overturn this act, you're on the side of predators, because they want to frame this as just protecting kids from viewing content they should not be seeing. Well, that's not how it is actually playing out. It goes way beyond that. There is censorship of adults, censorship of dissent, censorship of different opinions, and they're calling this a danger to democracy. Many people do believe this is trying to crack down on how people think and how they live very basic lives on the internet. It goes way beyond the initial scope of what this bill was presented as. And of course, they're mask off. This clip has been going around of some leadership basically admitting this isn't just about protecting kids. This is about stopping adults' free speech, and that elite squads will be responsible for monitoring and punishing free speech.
Is it just about children, or does it focus on adults?
Do you think that should be an elite squad?
Barry, does it just focus...
protect 13-year-old
I'm sorry,
girls?
the elite squad is not about children, actually. Shall I read you the thing? An elite squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it seems so obvious at this point. They were saying this is all about just banning adult websites or keeping kids from accessing them and all that stuff. But now you're seeing it goes way beyond that. It's something that is attacking many platforms nobody expected. You can see Chibi Reviews talking here about Wikipedia being restricted, YouTube being restricted, Spotify being restricted, police monitoring task forces being created. These are not exaggerations. Right now, if you're a UK user, this is what your media tabs might look like on Twitter. Everything is being censored. Even things posted by users who are not in the UK are being hit with these restrictions. In yesterday's video, we talked about collective shout. And some people, it was a bit of a confusing situation with mouthwashing. It was claimed it was banned by itch.io. Turns out it wasn't. But long story short, people talking about that and relating it to various censorship issues were getting these restrictions as well. People outside of the UK were even getting hit with this. It's ridiculous. Discord has had its own rash of age verification issues already. I've seen examples of people saying certain things like, oh, my friend over here is 10 years older than me. The system goes, uh-oh, you sound like you might not be an adult. And then they require that person to hand over their ID to get access to their account, when in reality they might be 30 years old, right? And now people are getting around the age verification by using Death Stranding photos. Yeah, they're using the photo mode from this game and somehow getting past it, including the authors of this article who tried it out for themselves and were successful in getting past the system. That's how stupid all of this is. And also Wikipedia is at risk of being blocked and hit with this sort of age requirement. They're in a legal battle right now because apparently Wikipedia has something that is so controversial, information that will require an age verification for not just users, but also identity verification for contributors. And of course, censorship of harmful topics. That's what the government wants. It's shameless, it's pathetic. But of course, we're not done yet. People are now reporting that they are being required to show their government ID to Spotify. Yup, you can't even listen to certain kinds of music without giving over your government ID to a service like this. It's insane. I mean, how far do you think you're going to push people with this kind of stuff? It's ridiculous. And we're not even getting into the more sinister, ridiculous stuff like the task forces that are being created to crack down on what they believe is problematic and dangerous behavior. I mean, you can see this headline. Police unit in England to monitor online signs of anti-migrant disorder. Intelligence team could track social media and flag early signs of civil unrest in response to renewed demonstrations. Yep, we're in the wrong think era. Wrong think, you're going to get arrested. That's pretty much it. Yep, you have an issue with anything going on with that? You might get a knock on your door. That's how bad things have gotten already. Now don't worry guys, this is just a test run, in my opinion. This is happening across the world and the United States is not exempt. There is a very similar bill titled Kids Online Safety Act that is basically mirroring everything going on in the UK that they're trying to push. And there's been already a lot of backlash, so what do? They start pushing another one called the Screen Act, which is basically the same thing. They are trying very hard to introduce this stuff to the United States and across the world. And if YouTube starting to make their own age verification process and screening isn't a hint enough, stuff like this should be. They're prepping for what might be a reality in the United States as well. And we've seen the disastrous effects in the UK. And if you're seeing what's going on here, yeah, you should be disgusted and very concerned. Now I'm going to end this video on a very light note, okay? Don't worry. Yesterday I announced that my code REV20 is now active, meaning you get 20% off of my latest advanced GG drop if you use that code at checkout. My new drop includes 2 new flavor jars, as well as the return of Rev's Rocket Pop with a new label featuring new arts, as well as some clothing you can pre-order as well. The code will only be active until August 1st, so 2 days from now. I just want to share this again at the end of the video, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of this. A lot of people took advantage of it over the last 24 hours since I announced it in yesterday's video, and I appreciate that very, very much. But yeah, jump on this while it's still here. I'll put a link to this in the pinned comment. And again, make sure to use code REV20 at checkout to save 20% off these new items. Thank you guys for enjoying the video today. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.